Impact segment tonight. The far left fringe has embraced the conspiracy theory that elements of the U.S. government carried out the attacks on 9/11. It's unbelievable, but that's what they're saying. Now, some mainstream individuals are buying into it. Rosie O'Donnell discussed it on her blog, and the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, billionaire Mark Cuban, may distribute a movie called Loose Change. That piece of propaganda may be narrated by Sheen, and it says the U.S. government was criminally negligent on 9/11. With us now, Bo Dietl, former New York City detective, knows about the local investigation on 9/11. From Miami, Gerald Posner, the author of the book, Why America Slept, The Reasons Behind Our Failure to Prevent 9/11. All right, Joe, I'll begin with you. When you hear this conspiratorial stuff, what goes through your mind?
Well, you know, Bill, it used to surprise me. Now, nothing surprises me what these wackos can come up with. What it goes through my mind, though, is I get angry. And then when I see mainstream figures like Rosie O'Donnell, she essentially did a cut and paste. She took it from one side and put it on her blog. You know what? You can't do that. It would be like putting on something that said the Holocaust didn't exist. And she should be socially responsible to know better. Mark Cuban, he may be great at making money. He's worth over $1 billion. But this was the guy who said, remember, when Kobe Bryant was arrested, it'll be good for the NBA. And he says on this issue, he's agnostic. He does things that are good about 9/11. He also distributes this because it's on the other side. We don't have an opinion. But guess what, Mark? You don't get to be agnostic on this. You have to have an opinion. Either 19 hijackers, Muslim fundamentalists who wanted to destroy the West, flew those planes into the World Trade Center and into the Pentagon, killing 3,000 people on 9/11, or otherwise you're right and it's a conspiracy. And you know what? You don't get to straddle both sides of the fence. You have an obligation to come clean on this and not distribute that film. The same with Sheen in narrating it. It's a disgrace.
All right. How do you see it, Bo? You were down here when it happened. You actually worked on the World Trade Center when they were building it.
I was an iron worker back in the late 60s before I became a cop. And, you know, the whole construction of the World Trade Center was heavy, thick steel walls around the outside with 6 inches of concrete floors. And what happened that day is when that melted, that went down and it became like potato chips. And I watched the buildings go down. It looked like they were imploding. They were imploding. The steel hit there. They couldn't hold up the weight. They came right down. Thank God that they didn't come down any other way. But when I hear this nonsense about these movies that are going to be made about this, what about the victims? What about the firemen and cops that died down there, their families, and the people who are down there that lost their husbands, wives, daughters, and sons? This is complete moron stuff now. I saw the engine of the plane that was down there on the ground that went right through the building. I saw people down there when we got down there, when number 7 came down. They say about the building number 7 coming down the same way. Yeah, because so much heaviness came off from the World Trade Center coming down onto 7. 7 came down. The foundation was all out of whack because of them coming down. There could have been more buildings coming down around. Why it happened that way? Only architects and only
well, we went over it with the popular mechanics, people who have done exhaustive study. But I agree with you that I think that, you know, bringing this stuff up, accusing your own country of murdering your own citizens is painful for people who lost people.
You go back with the blind cleric and with Yusuf. The connection was right there when they bombed World Trade Center 1 and they go to 2.
Bo, don't confuse anybody with facts. Don't confuse them with facts. But I will say this, Gerald. I believe that if Sheen puts his voice and name on this, he's through. I think that'll people won't watch his television program. They'll hold it against him. Now, you said something. You said it makes you angry when these conspiratorialists put this stuff out. They have freedom of speech. I mean, you know, they can say what they want.
No.
Why does it make you angry?
It makes me angry, Bill, because they're making up, in some cases, what they call facts. They're distributing false information. In many cases, they know it. And the product today is much slicker. You know, in the old days, you used to get a right-wing revisionist who would stand up and say, oh, by the way, the Holocaust is a myth, and they would just deny it, and we all knew they were crazy, and that was the end of it. But today, these films that they're putting out are very slick. They tend to show things in a way that if you watch it and you're impressionable, it's like JFK that Oliver Stone did. Look, it was a good propaganda film. I view these often as propaganda films, as good as anything that the Third Reich turned out, but they can change impressionable minds. So the reason I get angry as a journalist is the same reason you would as a journalist. You see the historical record here being completely muddied up on a case that should be straightforward, and the internet allows these theories to explode.
No, sure.
You know,
there's no question
so that they spread
everything.
fast.
I just don't understand the hatred for the country. I don't get the hatred for the country, Bo. Did you ever think about that? Why do they? Like, I'm not saying Mark Cuban hates America. I don't know what motivates Mark Cuban. He's welcome to come on here and explain. But most of these people buy into this. They just hate the country.
You know, it's just something that people have to be negative. You look, we're all not happy with the president's been doing. I was a Republican. I'm not happy with my president, what he's been doing and what's been happening. But you want to know something? I'm not going to go against him completely on everything he's doing. There's things that are being done right. The economy's great and everything, but people are going to be negative. These people that want to develop a film showing that this really never happened or it happened with America. First of all, they had another one, a conspiracy that Israel did it and wanted to get us. I mean, it goes on and on and on.
The Muslims try to blame it on
It's
Mossad,
aggravating
right?
to me. The one most important thing, Bill, is the people that died there on September 11 and their families. This is a disgrace to them. And Martin Sheen's kid there, better watch it as far as people.
Agree.
I wouldn't watch anything.
And this, we're looking out for you, Charlie Sheen. Don't do this. You're not going to come back from it if you do. And that's not a threat. I'm just telling you. I know the country. Bo knows the country.
We won't
Gerald
watch
knows
that
the country.
2.5 kids thing at all.
Not going to do it any good. Gentlemen, as always, thanks very much.